Morning, Mr. Reddy sir, our patron in DGH, respected Dr. Yadav. We just shook hand last year and now face to face today, and definitely looking for a meeting with you. All other respected speakers and the audience, August audience. Basically, I am from the user side, so my focus will be you tell us how to use the chemicals for bringing down the cost, making the unconventional very important. So I have been almost involved for last 10 years in CBM development in Durgapur. We are the largest producer of CBM, largest acreages, first to reach 1 million standard cubic meters per day. I just superannuated on 31st. Then I had a board meeting on 4th where I completed the formality, and now aiming to come into academics as an advisor under the guidance of seniors like Dr. Vij, Dr. Yadav and others. Thanks all. So go to the first slide. This I always present Earth mass extinction cycle. If you see the law of average, it was in 69 years, 124, 51 year, 134 year. We have already completed 66 years. So is Earth on the verge of next extinction cycle? Somebody predicted July 2020, it did not happen. The asteroid which was supposed to hit went somewhere. We were lucky. Probably Earth took its own corrective measures with Corona. That's what I can say. Anyway. Hello. Next slide, please. So I believe the transition of energy is there from C to H. The ancient start with the fuel wood, then slowly coal came, then the oil came, and of course, ultimate is the hydrogen economy, from fossil to sustainable. And the bridge is, of course, the gas, and gas, that too mainly unconventional gas. Even in today's term, importing gas is almost 40 to 45% cheaper than oil in terms of energy equivalent. So if today the dollar, if the Brent is 45, it's basically 6 MMBTU, it comes to 7.5, whereas spot LNGs are available at $4. So that's the economics, cheaper than liquid, most environment friendly next to hydrogen. And of course, enabler of commitment of COP21 in 2015, where India had committed the carbon emission limits. And of course, thanks to Dr. Reddy and team, we have almost 14 policies in place, out of which 4 were specifically for unconventional hydrocarbon. It's really thanks for that. Next. So conventional gas is on the decline, or very tough gas is there. So naturally the focus is on unconventional. Unconventional means CBM and Shell. So that's how will come into picture. The crux is how cost economically we can develop it. Next slide, please. So this is a slide I always like to present. The present scene is petrol, diesel, CNG-based automobiles and power generation. Intermediate is biofuel, synthetic fuel, blending, etc. Alternate is electric and hybrid and power generation. Now there are 2 ways. What should be the intermediate? I have a slide which will tell which is the better for India at least. Ultimate is hydrogen-based vehicle and economy and power generation. So hydrogen emission is water and water is hydrogen. So that's the green hydrogen, I will say. I recollect in 2007, while I was presenting gas hydrate, I said gas will be the bridge towards the hydrogen economy. Dr. Kakodkar, the then chairman of the Energy Commission, he corrected me, said, Mr. Taude, not hydrogen, it will be a new high. Because to produce green hydrogen will require a lot of energy, which can be only given by nuclear in terms of less carbon emission. Otherwise, any other fuel you use, any other energy source you use will generate that much of carbon which will be required. So new high is what at that point of time we said 22nd century, but things may happen early. Next slide. So that's the initiative I was talking, 14 specific, 4 related to unconventional. First of all came on 11th August 2017. I recollect very fast the government acted because we had a meeting on 6th August 2015, and within 1.5 years, in 11th August 2017, marketing and pricing freedom for CBM came, and that's where we all CBM operators could survive. Then there was a simultaneous exploration came with unconventional hydrocarbons can be developed. EGR or EOR policy came. Unfortunately, I have already expressed on various forums, CBM was overlooked. Not also as an unconventional hydrocarbon, also, but the techniques which are involved in enhanced gas recovery, none of them are applicable for CBM. The August gathering can suggest some techniques that can be used for enhanced recovery of CBM. We have one discussed in later. Next is unconventional gas. Of course, coal has come. Coal India has been given a mandate to extract CBM from there. So that's also a big, almost 90 TCF potential reserves are there. I think yesterday or today the bid is opening for the first 2 blocks. Let's see. But Reddy Saab, you required to guide them because it took almost 5 years for the first round of bidding for coal blocks through CIL. Anyway, we all should guide them. Next. So 3 types of unconventional gas: tight gas, coal bed methane, and gas sales. We definitely see the turnaround in US from a energy importer country to energy exporter, with shale prominently in the Permian Basin in Texas and other area, and tight gas sands are there. Gas shales and CBM, where shale and CBM should be focused in India. We have a slide over there. Next is the global CBM activities, which are, next slide please, which are primarily focused in North America, Alaska, and China and Australia. They had a good market till now because JKM was guiding Australia. JKM was guiding, but with the COVID situation now, Australia and US both are facing problem in terms of gas, LNG gas sales to India because of the transportation and other. But things should improve. We already recovered in terms of gas sales. 97% is what we have recovered pre-COVID situation. My own project, CBM Raniganj, is almost now 100% of the pre-COVID level. So recovery is there, and gas is going to play an important role. Next. So global shale gas occurrence all over the world. Permian Basin of USA changed the basin, and we have a Permian Basin where we have to put concentrated efforts for putting shale on the map of India. Next. Gas hydrate, a bit far off, but again, with all these technologies and the procedure or drilling technologies coming into place, probably right now it is around $6-7, can come further down at production and transportation level. Go next, shale. Go to next, shale, yeah. Shale gas map of India, it need to be focused. Right now, incidentally, SR has got 2 blocks, both in tertiary basin as well as Permian Basin. We would like to focus on Permian, and I request DGS to be a nodal agency for coordinating with all agencies to work together. It's a high value investment. So whether SR or GECL or ONGC working in the, as per the geologist, Damodar Valley Basin, and particularly eastern part of the Damodar Valley Basin is the best basin for shale. So let us put shale on the map of India with the concern. Simcor is doing a lot of work. They have drilled 4 core holes, and I think they have on the way they have submitted the report of the 4 core holes which were drilled in the vicinity of SR and ONGC block, Raniganj block. So that will help. because a lot of investment and risky investment, equity investment is there. A concentrated focus, if it focus group is working on it, I'm sure in next 2 to 3 years, shale can be on the map of India. We are ready to lead it, but mitigating the risks involved because of the high cost. Our own program is in the range of 25 to 30 million. But this is the best time because all the services are cheapest all over the world now. Almost 40%, 50 or 45% cheaper rates are coming for drilling, for hydrofracking, and all other services. Next. CBM activities in India, Reddy sir knows out of 33 blocks, almost 26, 28, 25, 26 have been relinquished. Need to revisit? Yes, now it is the right time to revisit because as per the policy, category 2, category 3 basin don't have to share fiscal. So only the work program can be the criteria where serious players can play a big role. And also the gas infrastructure which was not there 10 years before, like Urja Ganga pipeline is covering all these 4 states where the CBM blocks are there, whether it is Madhya Pradesh, Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, Bengal, or even we have some blocks in Orissa, not Bihar, but these 4 or 5 states are covered where the pipeline is going. So once the pipeline is there, every molecule of gas will be sold. Unfortunately, we are facing this problem for last 10 years where the local demand is restricted and we have to choke back the well. Our potential is 1.2 million, but we are only producing 0.5 million standard SCMD. Reddy sir knows, but hopefully the pipeline should get completed by end of this year and SR can go full speed. So need to revisit this based on the OLP conditions, favorable fiscal terms, and focusing on the fairway area of that. Next slide, please. So this is what is going to help us expanding CGD network, moving towards gas economy. We have almost covered 70% of the population in last 3 rounds, 8, 9 and 10. 11th round, I always say, Dr. Saraf, PNGRB was in hibernation mode, but once you have came, it has become full active and from I think 20%, we have jumped to 72% of the population area. Most of the eastern part has been covered. Most of the pipeline, wherever given, all these GA areas are covered. So going from 6% to 15% on gas is not very challenging. The total expected investment in gas grid, another 14,000 kilometers of gas grid pipeline, CGD network, biogas and LNG terminals, because 15% will require almost 400 million standard cubic meters per day. Right now we are at 160. Out of that 400, only 100 can be the domestic production. So we have to import 300 million standard cubic meters per day, which will require the double the LNG capacity what we have now, from 35 to almost 70. So completely all this India towards gas economy is going to bring in 7,000 crores. As a thumb rule, 1 crore gives 3 to 4 direct employment. So the employment is at 28 to 30 lakhs employment is going to come from this sector. And one of the reasons why I am going to focus on academic is specifically this. We have to generate the manpower required, skilled manpower required for this industry, which will be around 20 lakhs in next 5 to 6 years. These are all committed investment. Next. This is the slide which Dr. Vij and I always share. Natural gas least 0.189 kg CO2 per unit, and that's next to natural gas is of course hydrogen. And in terms of wood, it is 60% cleaner, and in terms of kerosene or diesel, it is almost 30-35% cleaner. So reduction of carbon footprint has to be the aim of all the oil and gas industry. Next. So ambitious goals in energy sector towards sustainability, increasing, as I said, energy basket gas to 6 to 15. Not impossible. Gujarat is already almost 26% of the energy basket of Gujarat is gas. So why not the country? Increasing the utilization of biofuels in the energy and transportation sector. Good focus has been given. Satat and other schemes are there, which is promoting. promoting, of course, the production of biofuels from domestic feedstock, large goals of adoption of green fuels, national energy security, fighting climatic change, generating employment, technology achievement in the field of biofuels, promoting the agenda of sustainability. Next. So this is what has been committed in 2015, 550 parts per million volume of equivalent of CO2, and the two most mitigation will be coming from gas and biomass. So we have to be very focused on these two sectors. If we could bring down the cost of production in gas, we can mitigate this commitment which India has done. And of course, biomass is another factor where we have to look. I always say petroleum engineers should not only see what are the petroleum below the ground, but also they should look into the petroleum which is available in terms above ground, in terms of landfills, in terms of biomass. Next. So what is the option, unconventional hydrocarbon or fuel mix preferred over electrical vehicles? If you see from the chart, yes, because in India, 370 gram CO2 equivalent per kilometer will be there if electrical vehicle is there, because primarily all our electric supply is coming from coal. So going to electricity, I always say just shifting the pollution from city to outside city where the power plant is there. On the other hand, if you see CNG is the minimum, it is 171, whereas even considering the other aspect, the electrical vehicle is around 289. So CNG is the cleanest fuel in spite of electricity vehicle, and it can be supported with ethanol mixtures. Where if you see the Brazil is using 100% ethanol with 5% of water, and Brazil is a very good example. In spite of being a Southern American country, they are using ethanol.